welcome back to where we explore the meanings we sense but can't always name, and the mysteries that shape our patterns in ways we don't expect. You know what? There are few truths more complex than inevitability. Not because it's frightening, but because it exists in that mysterious space between what we can control and what we can't. We spend our lives planning, predicting, preparing, and yet still life delivers moments that seem to appear from nowhere. They are unannounced and seemingly unavoidably permanent. These are moments that test how we respond when the path shifts beneath our feet. Do we resist? Do we run? Or do we learn to move with life's shifting currents instead of exhausting ourselves trying to swim against the current? This story that I'm about to share is a story about fate, fear, and the choices we make when we feel something unavoidable drawing near.
A long time ago, in the lively streets of Baghdad, a merchant sent his servant to the marketplace. See, the day felt ordinary. It was crowded, warm, familiar, I guess. But as the servant was going about with his business, seemingly lost in the middle of the crowd, he suddenly froze. He had seen someone unmistakable. It was death. He ran home to his master. "Master, I must flee Baghdad at once. I saw death in the market, and I'm sure she meant me harm. Please lend me your fastest horse. If I reach Samara by nightfall, I will be safe." Moved by the servant's terror, the merchant gave him the horse, and the servant rode off towards Samara. Later that day, as the merchant was processing the events of the day, he decided he would go to the marketplace and confront death. And there, standing quietly among the crowd, was Death. "Why did you frighten my servant?" the merchant asked. "I didn't mean to frighten him," Death replied. "I was simply surprised to see him in Baghdad because I have an appointment with him tonight in Samara." You see, this story isn't about doom, it's about that strange human habit of trying to outmaneuver what life brings to us. Sometimes when we fear an outcome, our panic sends us running straight towards it, not because fate is cruel, but because fear narrows our vision until we can no longer see the other parts available to us. And the more we resist what life places before us, the tighter its grip seems to become. Look, a fact of life is that life has seasons where things happen to us, and at times not necessarily for us. Moments when change arrives uninvited, where the unavoidable becomes real. And in those moments, we often default to one of two extremes. Either like the servant in the story, we escape or we surrender, but not the meaningful kind of surrender. No, I'm talking about the hollow kind of surrender, the kind where someone feels hopeless and seemingly resigns themselves to whatever may happen next. A surrender without curiosity, without urgency, without any attempt to explore and aim to know and understand the lay of the land. But you know what? There is another way. Maybe fate isn't something we're meant to run from, or something we just collapse into with resignation. Maybe fate is something we learn to move with, to meet like an old friend without fear. Maybe the real art we've lost is the art of navigating those in-between spaces of life, the places where things happen to us, the place where change arrives uninvited and where the unavoidable becomes real. In those spaces, perhaps the wisest and most meaningful path is neither escape nor hopeless surrender, but conversation, a willingness to sit with questions, holding them gently with a kind of innocent, childlike curiosity. Maybe what we really need in those moments is the courage to stand still long enough for meaning to take shape, long enough for the fog to lift, so we can begin to see where this mysterious path we call life is actually leading. But I'm curious, how do you navigate those seasons in life? When the door to your life is kicked open and then uninvited guest moves in, how do you navigate those seasons? Where do you find meaning?